Hi, Cancer. The love notes are so long that the love section alone is taking 2.5 pages. And more than half of it is the second half of February. So I'm telling you now, even though career is so vastly important for us right now, I think we're doing career and mental, physical health in the extended because there's just so much to get through. And it's spicy. Okay. Let's just see what the cards say first before we say anything, make any judgments, even talk about the astrology. First card out is the Seven of Wands, a card of victory, a card of overcoming hardship, a card of changing circumstance through effort. The fight of it all, those wands beneath you, your ops, if you will, still looking to catch you in a weak moment. We like that. Feeling like we're winning again. Feeling like we have the upper hand in something again. Now we knew when Pluto moved, Cancer rising, I'm looking at you, we knew that we would have to walk away from a lot. Did we think it was going to be 8 of Cups walking away? Where you're pretty fucking close to where you want to get with anybody. 8 of Cups is really close. Did you think that that 8 of Cups situation was something you'd ever have to walk away from to feel like you've won at life or have any self-respect? Because that's there as well. It's coming in very strongly. This is mostly for people who are with someone already. We haven't even gotten to the single stuff yet. But regardless, victory. The Six of Wands says, I'm so happy with the effort that I put in and what I've gotten out of it. Look at me. No, really. Look. I did it. So, regardless of how soul-wrenching the 8 of Cups is, regardless of how difficult it is to leave behind not just the shell, but the entire setting, what comes from it, clearly, from the first card out to the third card out, is victory. No one's excuse me, no one benefits quite like you do from this particular move. There's a card turned over here, and it is the Page of Wands. So with success is going to come attention. And one of the forms of attention that's very possible right now, very strong energy, Cancer rising especially, is feeling a sense of victory over something you thought you lost once. Something you thought slipped through your fingers. A tug of war. A battle of wills that you lost. This is all in the romantic sense. Something, someone, some feeling, some circumstance, which now comes back around in a way, Queen of Wands, that makes you feel like the shit. It's deeply passionate. It's intense. It's easy to be head over heels for an energy that makes you feel like you've won. Whatever this is, it makes you feel good about you. That's what makes it so very intoxicating. The desire, excuse me, the desire is intense because the situation was intense. The feeling of loss was intense. The feeling of defeat was intense. The feeling of regret was intense. So it's all going to come back around. And when you feel like now you've won over that thing, now you can go back and erase that thing I didn't got. That's intoxicating. that kind of justification. Ooh, we love it because you had us fucked up. Not just surrounded by bad thoughts, not just blaming ourselves for everything, but all the way turned around about everything. Nothing was being seen from the right vantage point. And you realize, like, mid-February, you're like, have I been living in an upside-down shell? Now, for those of you who are only like 16, 17, this is like your whole life has been like this. But for those of us who are older, it's like you look at the past 15 years and you're like, has my fucking shell been upside down this whole time? What the fuck? What the fuck was actually going on? And Pluto's like, I'm gonna go. Things start to make sense, but making sense like this is deeply traumatic for us because we need security. We want security. We got used to the toxic thing. We got used to being treated in a toxic way. We got used to our luck running out. We got used to having to see things all the way upside down. So we just turned our whole shit upside down. We turned our home upside down. Now everything's going right side up again. And now all the things that we learned to tolerate and deal with the toxicity, all the stuff that we've become codependent to, it doesn't apply anymore. We don't have to be that way. And Pluto in Aquarius won't let us. Like, it's like your self-respect just came back. Now, would I have said that during this 15-year period where we all know that we were compromising our self-respect? No, but it's over now, so it's fine. Fuck them. This is for us anyway. It's not for anybody else. I often wonder if people watch, what's it called? If people cross-watch the Cancer videos, and I'm always like cringing, like, oh, I hope you don't do that, because it gets so real over here. Okay, I dropped a card. Hold on one second. Okay, we're back. I smoked a bowl. Okay, all right. Here's the thing. It was the Six of Pentacles. Now, this head over heels, really intense desire. In one way, it's like very exciting. And then in another way, it's really scary because you're so vulnerable to it. You feel so exposed. You don't realize in that like intoxication of feeling like you're winning how deep you're getting back into something, because you're just like following that feeling, win, 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 win. That I think we realize a little too late, mid-February, that it's actually like scaring the life out of us. And not only do we feel insanely vulnerable, but we're also like insanely intimidated by the person who's causing this within us. Which, like, even when we're completely lovey-dovey, we're like iron about certain things, right? But like we're intimidated to the point, like we're intimidated by the amount of joy we're feeling. We're intimidated by how tired and weary you feel yourself in the face of this joy. Like, how do I say it? It's like, oh, this feels so good. I don't want to get used to this. Like this, oh man, if I get used to this, fuck, if I let my guard down. And it's like you're saying all that, but you're not realizing by mid-February that your guard is already down. And I think the only thing you really can do is like try as much as possible. So this is the Chariot, that's you, and then that's Judgment. And it's an angel telling the truth to such a degree that even the dead are raised. He's blowing that trumpet. A reckoning, a day of judgment, where things are held to count. The only thing you can do is not hold whatever happens now by what happened before. As a Cancer, that's really hard to do because you're really smart and you're like, no, I have to remember what happened before. But the thing is, you can remember what happened before, right? And you think you're remembering the parts that you need to remember so it never happens again. Boom. But actually, you're also remembering then who you were then, the insecurities you had then, the shit that was going on with you back then that you don't have anymore. So why are we going to pretend like you do? It can't go, excuse me. Smoking out of a pipe is like really harsh with your lungs, right? It's organic Sicilian sparkling lemonade. Get into it. Not on your lungs, on your throat. So, the whole point is that the reason you're able to win however you want to win right now is because you're not that person that you used to be. So carrying whatever happened back then, no matter what part of it you carry, you're going to carry that pain and that version of you that was whoever you were back then, you're going to carry that to you now. And as soon as you do that, because this is even more intense, it's like, it's such an unexpected intensity, whether you're with someone and you're getting back together, whether you're with someone and you're breaking up, whether you're single and just like a random experience comes at you that's super crazy intense. Regardless of how you get there, by the second half of February, you're starting to understand how life with Pluto can be amazing. Like, because it's moved on to a different sector of our lives, in some ways, life will get more serious. But in other ways, we gain back a sense of whimsy that I think we had to put away for whatever reason. We get to go back now to a time where you can fall head over heels in love with someone and they will actually honor it. We can go back to a time where we can admit to somebody that our connection is getting deeper and we're not afraid of that, and we can admit to them that we're tired. We can admit to them that we're weary. We can be vulnerable in a way that just has scared us to death over the past 15 years because it never ended right. As soon as we got vulnerable, things turn into this crazy power play. Now, here's the thing about that crazy power play. Those power plays all worked until a few weeks ago. And now, whoever you're dealing with is really trying to figure out why you're being difficult. But what they don't understand is that you're not being difficult. You can't help how you are right now. Or how you will remain, inshallah, how you will remain. It's like we don't have much of a choice with this. We're just not going to bullshit you. Power plays, power struggles, gaslighting, all that shit works if I'm willing to play the game of like pretending that I don't know you're full of shit. But as soon as I decide that I'm just going to be the kind of Cancer I am with everybody else in the world and treat you like I should have been treating you the whole time, which is when I can tell you're full of shit, I just say you're full of shit. The people in our lives, they get special treatment. This is always where Cancers fuck up. They've been getting away with that shit for how long? Is there anybody else in your life that could get away with that shit? No, but I love them. They're my significant other. They're my kids. Okay, yeah, I get it. So even you want to go back to being how you used to be and being way more tolerant and a doormat. Even you would like that because you're seeing how everyone around you is just responding so strangely to you not being able to baby them. You can't. You don't want to, but you also can. You know, if you're stuck in a relationship, for example, right now, the codependency is on full display. Like, you can't run away from it. You're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to face yourself because the codependency doesn't work anymore for you. It's not a viable solution to do or say anything that isn't sincere and authentic. You're finding yourself incapable of the emotional grovel. Right? Because Pluto in Aquarius is like, this is a harmful pattern. Do we just make excuses for everything he does? This is a harmful pattern. Do we just take what we can get and make up the rest with our own emotional labor? This is a harmful pattern where you keep yourself from being aware and you lie to yourself, therefore making you an easy target for everyone else to lie to you. If you can face these things now, if you can look around at your life honestly and realize that you can see that the setting has changed. Nobody else can yet. They're doing a horrible job of catching up too. But it's obvious to you. So the title of your reading is Exterior Night, A New Space. So in screenwriting, one of the most powerful techniques is just, cut and change the setting. So your interior day, and then all of a sudden it's exterior night. And the way you write it is like specific because it's, the nomenclature of screenwriting. So exterior night, a new space this is like the meta version of a new shell. It's not just your shell that's changed. There is no more shell. The world is your shell now. You don't have anything to hide from. You don't have anything to be afraid of. That time where you were emotionally vulnerable and could really be fucked with because you were going through an internal emotional audit. And so your capacity just wasn't there to pick up on the abuse, to pick up on the manipulation, to pick up on the codependency. Now that your audit is done, you are infinitely smarter, emotionally more intelligent, but also that intelligence has created something in you that is quite a force. You don't need a shell because you're too big for the shell. You're too big for a shell. You need like a world-sized shell. Because with all this plutonium, Pluto didn't just like fill in the gaps, with like rubble and blow stuff up and like just like fill the gaps with like chaos. Pluto in Capricorn really took its time with us. And it embed that plutonium in our cracks, in our heart, in our soul, where people broke us and took from us and used us and all those things. Just so it could find the cracks, it probably let that happen. Just so it could find, there. Now, what that makes us is a nuclear minefield. Be very careful where you once walked so lightly. Pluto says, I've done my job very well. This whole place is mine. And I had to do it because I got up close and personal with Cancer for 15 years. And what I found is that this is a good person who deserves intensity and love and loyalty and affection. This is a person that is too soft and yet too capable. Very easy to use. And so I'm going to, purposefully embed these minds, this plutonium, in the places where you have stepped too many times. Where you have beaten her, him, they, them down. Where they need a little spring to get people off them. So if you find that your filter has disappeared, you're right. And no matter how unpleasant people may find it, at least you're aware of who you are now. There's some joy in that. You're not who you used to be. And the only reason your shell's too small and now the world has to be your shell is because you've become unapologetic. There's nowhere to skulk off and hide because you're not fucking hiding. You don't want to. What do you do when the crab starts walking and talking straight? It's terrifying. It's terrifying. So if the setting has changed, you can bet that every rule has changed. Every rule has changed. Nothing that you have been okay with for 15 years feels okay anymore. Not the way you've been with yourself, not the way you've let others be. And you desperately want to hold on to those connections, of course. Always. But it's becoming more and more obvious that you've been kicked around. And it's more and more cringe and disgusting to watch people react to you just having a little self-respect. Like, what the fuck is your problem? That's why it's so important. There's a card turned over. It's the 9 of Wands in reverse. And then we have some cards here. We have the 5 of Cups, the Knight of Swords, and the 3 of Swords. Oh my God, I let so much time go by. I could have been doing this. I could have been doing that. Instead, I was just being a dumbass and getting my heart broken over and over again. What the fuck? And for those of you who weren't like old enough to be outside like that 15 years ago, you know, your family was breaking your heart. So, if you feel like you've been kicked around, then this self-respect, this like aggressive version of self-respect is coming from a very deep place. You feel like you wasted time. 5 of Cups. And you feel like you feel responsible for your hurt. Like, man, how'd I let that happen to me? How'd I allow that? I would never allow that because the setting has changed and you've changed. So, of course, from your vantage point now, all of it seems ridiculous. And that's where you need to have a little grace for yourself. You know? If you're dealing with someone or something that you have a history with, watch the universe lay things out in the most fortuitous way for things to work. Don't do anything. You don't have to. Continue to be the way you have been for the past 3-4 weeks. Unapologetic. Honest. Patient. But also like patient because you're unbothered, because there's just like a lot to do and like not enough time to do it. A lot of growing up and responsibility is coming when it, you know, to do with finances. You're already slipping into a place where you kind of know that soft life can begin. Even without anybody telling you that it was happening. And we can talk about all the rest of it in the extended, but I will say this. Don't be afraid of the soft life without the shell. I think we've earned it. And I think that Pluto has done its work in putting that shell somewhere in here, in our core. So we have it like our external skeleton became our internal skeleton. Because you can be, you know, a hermit crab that finds shells to live in, or you can be a crab that is its own shell. But either way, you know, if you identify completely with your shell, like you are your shell, this process is going to feel really, really tough. But if you're a crab that can just jump out of one shell into a nicer shell whenever, maybe it'll be a little bit easier to venture forth. I don't think it's ever easy, but the things that you would drag into your shell and do in private, that transmutation, now the world is your work table. And you are welcomed into it with open arms. People want to reconnect. People want to reconnect properly. People want to do right by you. People seem to have woken up from a stupor because you won't give in and realized how much they've taken you for granted, how awful it's been for you. And until they come to you with that energy, you won't want to talk to them and you won't want to be around them. And that's kind of amazing. Because again, we're not forcing something. We're not trying to make something happen. We just don't like how it's going. But like we haven't liked how it's been going for so long, but now suddenly it feels like, and I'm too good for this, sorry. You know, and when Cancer starts giving you like the dead eyes, it's over for you. Like, you can either shape up or ship out, you know? And I love that for us. I love that for us. There's a lot more to talk about. But the cards are talking, and I want you to see more of them. So we're going to leave it here. A lot of people are asking about the personal readings. It's always a link below in the info box, as well as a link to the extended. It's always there. I just don't mention it. Yeah. I love you. I'm excited for us, like a lot. But also, just remember that how you start is how you finish. Love you.